So I think there's a huge misconception in the NBA 2K community that you gotta do all this extra stuff in order to be successful at the game. Time and time again, what you'll see in the rec is people forcing certain moves, trying to think that they're comp out there when in fact they're just messing the game up for everybody. Yeah, sometimes it's necessary to create your shot, especially when going up against a tougher defender. You'll have to get deep in your bag, and there's always value in hitting difficult shots. But 90% of the time, all you need is basketball IQ, a knowledge of how the game works, and how basketball functions at its finest, and you'll be all set. Getting buckets in 2K isn't difficult. Here I am going up against basically a perfect defender on paper. 98 perimeter defense, strength and speed up the wazoo along with agility, and all it takes is two dribbles. Two dribbles by using IQ, positioning, and a knowledge of mechanics to get to the basket. Now I try to be ambitious right there, but physical finisher bailed me out. But once again, here it is. Simple moves, just basically one dribble move, taking advantage of my defender with his hands up right there. When you got your hands up, you're a slower lateral defender, so you got to attack them on the move. That's knowledge of mechanics leading to an easy bucket. Now, he responded to me attacking him in space by crowding me out. And with my knowledge of the game's mechanics, a simple left stick push away from my defender gets a blow by. My shoulder is inside his chest. That means I can launch for a contact dunk. And man, some of these moves are just basic basketball mechanics that 2K25 allows, giving you an easy time to get buckets regardless of the defender. Now, I posted a build last week or a couple of weeks ago that said this was the easiest build to score on. And this guy is basically saying that, well, on a 6'8", I'm not sure I believe you, Kev, especially since the signature animations for 6'4" and below builds is significantly better. But as you can see right here, on my 6'6" and 6'8" builds, I've developed several shot creation systems that have gotten me so much shot creation juice out of these signature animations that we have. I don't even have starter 4 yet, but as you can see right here, the knowledge of how to blend things together relies more on just animations. And here's an example of me getting 27 points per game in 3 different games across my 6'8" T-Mac build. Now we start the game right here. The opponent's gonna go on a quick 6-0 run. And as I usually do when I'm matched up with, as a shooting guard, I got point guards who have different levels of ability and willingness to get me the ball at my preferred spots. So what do? I use basketball IQ, and this builds athleticism and movement in order to get to my spots out of off-ball cuts, giving me some of the easiest baskets in the game. Throughout these 3 games, I will show you how I slept basically into over 25 points per game just by knowing how to move around the court, fake my defender out, and use my build's physical abilities to get easy baskets. The misconception that, you're gonna need, the best animations for 6'6" and up builds that can't compete with 6'4" builds is basically wrong. Now, it's wrong to a certain extent. It's wrong in that, for 95 to 98% of the community who just like to play casually, this is all you'll need. Off-ball movement, fakes, 1 and 2 moves getting to your spots. It's not complicated. Now, if you are playing Comp Pro-Am and all these comp modes, of course the animations are going to be essential because the best players in the game optimize the game down to a point where you're not supposed to have fun. It's supposed to be frustrating to go up against 99 perimeter defense, 99 steal, 90 speed and agility builds. Those builds are meant to do one specific thing and one specific thing only, and that's to take the fun away from the game. But for the casual community who likes to make builds that are more well-rounded, eventually you'll get matched up with builds that specialize in that, even in casual game modes like Rec. Yeah, you're gonna need some of the best animations, but what I've shown throughout these highlights is that, you're gonna have enough from 6'8" to 6 for those 6'6" up builds. And as you can see right here, simple basketball leading me to 24 points on 80% field goal shooting. Now in game 2, This is probably the worst case scenario for shooting guard builds. Basically, as you can see, first quarter is almost over and I've only scored 3 points. I rarely get to touch the ball a lot, especially when I'm going matching up against, as you can see right there, the point guard is these flopping type of point guards who, if they don't get their way, they're going to destroy the game for everybody. He's finally forced to pass me the ball. Patient read right there, get to my open spot, punish them for trying to defend the slash. Instead, I go for an easy mid-range shot. Once again, I slept to 7 points easily, not missing a single field goal. Now, with 8 minutes left in the game, I would get enough touches, as I said. And instead of frustrating me, what I do instead is just make sure that, I play good defense, space the floor. Eventually, as the game gets, much tighter, the ball hogging point guard who can't score, who once again flopped right there, is gonna have to rely on you to get buckets. And as you can see right here, this is just simple 1-2 dribble moves. Out of that, go-to shot canceled into a dunk. Catch the ball, rise up for an easy 3. Yes sir. Now I'm in a situation where I've suddenly got 17 points and an ability to close out the game just by using 1 and 2 simple moves. 2K isn't complicated. If you get defended, move the ball, move to a different spot, space the floor, cut, attack at will. And as you can see, I'm gonna end this game with 27 points when with 8 minutes left. I only had 7 points and 3 field goal attempts. So another situation where I shoot 100% while giving out 7 assists, 11 for 11 field goals, shooting 4 for 4 from 3. And as I said, the guys who commented that they don't believe how easy it is for this build specifically to score easily, what I'm showing you right here is it doesn't take much. The builds that I made, the 6-8 build, as you can see, is completely destructive by just doing as less as possible. Spacing the floor, catching and shooting with a jump shot so smooth that I barely miss from 3, shooting over 60% or around 60% from 3 with my 75 rated 3-point field goal build. This build is insane. It's so easy so long as you got willing passers, an ability to move the ball. It's dynamic on offense and defense, can even function as a primary or secondary playmaker without being too ambitious. But as you can see right here, from a situation where we were close up until the third quarter, now we're running away with it. And now I'm able to score more at will as things have broken down. And I'm just basically running to the basket or running to an open spot and hitting open shots. The game isn't easy, fellas. The game doesn't need to be hard. You don't need to do all that dribble nonsense. When you get double teamed, swing the ball, cut to the basket, cut to open space. None of this is necessary. If you're getting stonewalled, swing the ball around and move to an open spot. None of this is necessary. Like I said, NBA 2K is not a complicated game. It might not be your favorite game, but it's not a hard game. And you guys are making it hard for yourself. Yeah, sometimes it's necessary to do these moves to create when you're being defended by a good defender, but more often than not, just make a simple play.